Okay, in college one time, we were playing in a strobe light. That's kind of what I do sometimes. As a kid, I'd be like, yo, I got this strobe light. Let's check it out. And we would just, turn out all the other lights. And then, it's strobing and everybody's like dancing and doing like shit. Yeah. And one of my friends, he stuck his foot in a trash can by accident. I mean, he stepped in it. But then it was a metal trash can, like a really hard one. So he like lifted his foot up to take it off his foot. But somehow my head like leaned in at the same time, so the edge of it just hit me in the eye.
Oh,
and then it like because even this like a smallest cut because it was just like right over the eyebrow. Tell you the truth, I don't remember which one it is, but there's a minor scar if you look really
clearly
close.
Very minor if you don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you have to really stare to see it now, but you even if you take a small cut, you just bleed a lot because there's a lot of like...
It's like capillaries. It's like pro wrestling. They'll cut themselves with like a razor in like their like glove or whatever. That way they look like more scary and blood.
Yeah,
and all that.
Like might look like the blood's all over your face, but it's really just one tiny like cut. So that's what happened. Everybody else saw it like in the strobe light and was like, "Holy fuck!"
That's
like,
awesome.
Like, oh my, yeah.
Honestly, if you're gonna see that, it's a cool way to see it.
I guess, yeah. So obviously we turn the lights back on. Everybody's like looking at me like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Oh, is it that bad?" And it's like, and then I just see like just puddles of blood everywhere. And they took me to the hospital, and then they got stitches. But I remember my friends were like in the hospital with me, like waiting, and like, "Dude, we're gonna call you Scarface now."
No.
And then I was like, "Oh shit, my mom's gonna see this when I come home." Because at the time I was staying in the dorms, but sometimes I would come home on the weekends, and I came home that weekend, and I didn't want her to see it, so I put a winter hat on over and just kept it really low on the eyebrow, and she was like, "Oh, come on, it's not that cold," and she just pulled it off, but the stitches were still in, and the stitches got kind of stuck in the fabric, so when she pulled the hat off my head, it just like pulled the stitches like
oh shit,
yeah. And then I was like
bleeding again.
Like I don't remember if it bled then, but it pulled one of the stitches, and then that's it when she found out. But she's like, "Oh my god, like you're gonna have scars." It's like, yeah, I mean, my dad has scars. What's the big deal?
I have they kind of tie into each other, but I have two, and they're super quick.
I'm sorry, Mom.
My mom saw both of these. The first one was when I was in like first or second grade, playing on the playground, whatever, and I fall and I scrape my elbow all across, and this was like a street that I was on, and it said blood all over the place. Whole arm is covered to where it looks like I must have just really scratched this up. Get to the hospital. I'm a little kid. I'm crying and everything, and we get there. The thing is about that big. It's actually not that bad, but there's a little stone in there, and they're like, "Well, okay, well, we gotta go in there and take out that stone. There's a little stone in your elbow." I'm like, "No, don't do that, don't do that." I'm freaking out. Don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, well, okay, and then then we're gonna have to stitch it up after we get the stone out because it was almost like healing over, and like we got open it up, take it out, then give stitches. I'm like, "No, I can't do it," and I put up such a fuss. I guess my parents went over. It's like, can you just leave it in there? And they're like, I mean, technically we can. Are you okay? There's no real problem or anything. So I do have a little stone in my elbow. It's very hard to see, but
never got it out.
Never got it out. So there's that. And then years later, when I was in high school, I was opening like just some cookie dough. It's a really stupid thing, but I had like a really sharp knife. I'm opening it, and the knife, I slip, and it went boom right in my thumb, like wah! And I took it out again, blood, going like that. Went to the hospital. I liked the fact that I never had stitches before, and I'm looking at this. I mean, this is a big wound, and they're like, "You're gonna have to get stitches." And I'm like, "Oh man, come on! I don't want to go through this." They numb it up. I don't feel, you don't feel a thing. Yeah. It's like all numbed up and everything. I was like, "Oh guys, this was really easy. This is nice. Why'd you take the stone out? What, you're going to listen to a crying kid? Stupid." So I kind of gave him a hard time after they left that stone in there. But it is kind of a neat thing to point to. Like, yeah, there's just a teeny tiny little stone in my elbow.
Do you even have the option? Like, would you get it out or you just don't care?
Oh, no,
anymore?
I don't feel it at all. I mean, you can feel a little bit when you rub your finger over it.
For some reason, your story, just real quick, your story I think bothers me more than his because the idea of a foreign object inside of your skin is like that is like unsettling to me.
Well, I have something in common.
Okay.
I have a fucking pencil point right here.
My dad does too.
You see
that?
that?
Oh my god!
You
I
see
was
that?
gonna
Yeah.
say
See that?
my dad. So now when you got it,
There's a pencil point. It's stuck in my skin.
was
It's
it
just
higher
the way
up?
it is.
That's the question.
No, so what happened was I sharpened a pencil. I used to have one of those automatic sharpeners, and I dropped the pencil. And I went, "Oops!" Tried to grab it, and it went clunk like that. And I went, and then I pulled it, and the pencil point got stuck. And then I went, "Oh, it'll pop out." And then it never did.
My dad had somehow he got I can't remember how he got same thing, like pencil went in, there was a little bit in there, but it happened when he was a little kid, so every time he shows it, it's like down here now, like
It's
it actually moved down over the years.
So this one is it's right there, and like you can see it.
Hey,
Like,
guys,
it's a little dot.
You know what this is like? This is like that scene in Jaws when they're in the boat and they're showing each other all their wounds.
Or like
I was opening
you know,
cookie
like
dough.
what's it called? Lethal Weapon. With what's it?
Oh, they start saying all their bullet wounds.
Yeah. Like that's what I always think.
Drink
like
to
that.
your arms.
I love in Loaded Weapon 1, which is like the parody of that with
I know what
Emilio
you're talking
Estevez
about.
and Emilio Estevez and Samuel
Was
Jackson.
that a what's it called?
It's a National Lampoon movie.
Okay.
And there's a scene where they're doing that, him and the girl, and he's like, "Oh, my arm blew off, whatever." And she opens her like chest, and there's just a mouse running on a wheel as her new heart because she lost it. It was pretty good. But ways I fuck myself up, aside from almost 40 years physically and mentally, slowly. When I was, like when you're going down like a hill and you can like let go of like on a bike, the handlebars, and you just kind of like and you coast. I was learning how to do that, and I hit a parked car going like 30 on a bike downhill. So I remember hitting it, black. And then I'm just up, and I'm just on my dining room table for some reason, on my back with lights, and all my friends and my dad going like, just like, like in like a war movie when like a grenade goes off and you just hear that ringing sound, like tinnitus.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Call
hearing
of
that,
Duty.
and like everyone's just like talking to me, and I'm like, what? and then later that night we went to go see Hook.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a real shitty day.
I love Hook.